Welcome to part 5 of my ranking of the Monster Monsters. We're coming in close to some of my favourite monsters of all time, and in this list we'll be talking about some of the greatest monsters in my opinion. These are monsters I find really fun to fight, and are great in what they are. Great designs, beautiful fights, maybe some of the greatest music in the series. These are some of the greatest monsters of all time. Not my favourites. Some of my favourites, but they're some of the greatest in my opinion. So, I'm the Crimson Scythe, and let's get right into it. Starting off today's part, we have Mizutsune. Mizutsune is one of those beautiful monsters I can't help but adore the look of. In Rise, it's even got a bigger glow up, and its design is beautiful. Especially in that one area in the flooded forest, where it's like in the cave, and like the bluish water and the glow around it is so beautiful. Mizutsune's ability to use bubbles as well is so fun, and its enraged state where the fins and on its head and its back glow like this reddish colour is so beautiful. Mizutsune is not the best of the Fated Four in my opinion, but it's still a good monster. It's okay. When I first fought, like, Safi'jiiva, or when I first saw it, I thought, what is this meant to be? Like, what is the story behind it? Then it's revealed that it's an adult version of another monster I'll be talking about in the next part, which I'm not going to spoil this one. But hearing that, I was so disappointed. Because I thought, why would a monster designed like that turn into a red dragon like this? Now, for those of you who do not know, the monster I'm talking about is a monster that looks absolutely alien. It doesn't look like something you'd see in real life. Safi'jiiva is incredibly disappointing in design, but in terms of abilities and the fight, oh my god, it's so good. Gammoth is amazing, okay? I know one of my closest friends loves Gammoth, and I remember even, like, having the fun of, like, fighting a small, tiny baby Gammoth, just waddling around in the snow. It is the most fun we've had playing Monster Hunter, and I love Gammoth just for that reason. It's for the memories in itself. Gammoth's fight is amazing. It's what you expect from a giant mammoth. Slow, powerful, music behind it is so cool. Gammoth, even though it's not the best of the Fated Four in my opinion, I do love it. Just wish it came back. I wish it's going to be in the next game. I am hopeful that it is. We have the other three, we need Gammoth. Please, bring back Gammoth. Odogaron is amazing. The fight is itself, it's fun, and the fact that it's found in the Rotten Vale in the deepest depths of it is so cool. The only thing I have with Odogaron that kind of throws me off with it is that its roar is just a turkey. It's a gobbling turkey. It's not a wolf with howl. Well, in some cases it can have a wolf howl, but it's just, to me, a gobbling turkey, and that's all it will be. Well, obviously that's not what it will be, but Odogaron itself is really cool. Beautiful design, incredibly fearsome, so much fun. The rage state, or the state it gets where it's like glowing after like eating or something like that, and like the steam coming out of its mouth, it's super cool. Much like the Eon Garuga that we talked about way earlier in the series, the Tigrex is relentless, and this thing can really catch you off guard if you're not paying attention. The Tigrex itself is mainly like a fearsome predator that uses its like massive size and its strength to charge into you, bite at you, and even cause a roar that could damage you. The Akantor can do this as well, yes, but it's more present with Tigrex because of its size. Tigrex is much smaller than Akantor, and its roar is so deadly. This move has even killed me once or twice. The Tigrex is my favorite fight. No. It's a beautiful design. I love the whole thing behind it. Super cool. I wish they brought back Monoblos. The Diablos is cool in itself, but like, let's face it, it's overdone way too many times. We need something new, we need something more Monoblos, if you will. Okay, let's face it, Monoblos is a better design, in my opinion, better fight, in my opinion, even though it's very similar. I just love Monoblos. I'm more biased towards Monoblos. I don't know why, I just, you know, it's... And considering the fact that its nickname, I think it's pretty much like the Scarlet Spire, I'm pretty sure. Or like the Crimson Spire, or something like that. One of the coolest names of all time. Okay, let's face it, I'm not saying that just because of my channel name, okay? I'm saying it because it does sound really cool. Okay? It's cool. Maya Morales has not been seen since the 3rd generation, and that really sucks because this fight is pretty cool. I would love to see how this thing would be portrayed in recent games, though I'm hoping that Wilds does give us the fight we need with this thing. Because let's face it, this thing needs to come back. I think everyone could agree with me on this. Maya Morales is one of the best Elder Dragons that even come out in the 3rd gen. And let's face it, it's the best, one of the best designs in my opinion. It's a walking volcano. It did it better than Zora Magdaros, and it's not even a boring fight either. It's actually a really well action-packed fight. And this thing even causes meteors to rain down at the start of the fight, which can even end up killing you if you're not careful enough. This thing is awesome! Chameleos is a fun fight. This thing is super cool looking. It's one of my favorite design monsters in all of Monster Hunter. Yet, its fight can be a bit tedious. In Rise, it was made so much better in my opinion. But fighting this thing in the older games was so much tedious than it needed to be. And the thing is, right, with Chameleos, its movements are so sporadic and so chameleon-like, it's so fitting for its design. That's why I love Chameleos so much, that it's actually fitting to its theme. And yeah, I know people can say, but you put the theme down and it was like really low compared to everything else. I'm like, yes, I know, but like, it's a chameleon dragon, like, compared to other, like, things, like, compared to other themes from, like, this game, or this franchise, it's kind of basic. When it comes to monsters, the Deviljho is by far one of the most fearsome and most aggressive monsters in the entire franchise. The Deviljho can come up at any point, can appear in any area, and is one of the most fearsome monsters that even use other monsters to attack you. That's how powerful this thing is. It's not even an Elder Dragon, and this thing is pretty freaking deadly. It's not the hardest thing in the world. Okay, let's face it, it's not the hardest thing to kill, but let's be honest, the Deviljho, to new players, to new hunters, this thing was the most feared thing to come out of the 3rd gen. Okay, let's be honest with ourselves. And nowadays, people are like, yeah, it's a Deviljho, I could handle that. But we all know the fear that it brought us when we were fighting a Kurapika when this thing pops up. The same thing could also be said about the Rajang. Much like the Deviljho, the Rajang was one of the most feared monsters in Monster history. And let's face it, these two kind of have a big, massive rivalry going on, which is why I put them at, like, the similar spot. But I think Rajang, to me, is much better. Maybe it's just the anime nerd in me, but this thing is literally just a borderline Dragon Ball reference. It's a great ape that goes Super Saiyan when it's enraged, and even adds up the Kaioken onto its arms, even to further extend its rage. Come on, this thing is a Dragon Ball reference, but I love that, and it's super cool. This thing is also aggressive, more so than the Deviljho, and this thing is brutal. Especially when it picks you up and slams you into the ground, and especially in its like subspecies, but we can save that for another time. Valhazak is what you would do if you took a creepy monster and made it 10 times more creepy, and even turned it into a zombie, basically. Yes, this thing is wearing the coat of dead corpses on its body. That in itself is a cool design aspect, and it's done so well. The only thing that I find annoying with this fight, I haven't mentioned it with other monsters from the Rotten Vale, but the effluvium, so annoying. This thing will catch you off guard, and if you're not ready or prepared, this thing can kill you in an instant. The effluvium it produces is also super, super powerful. But it's still a cool design nonetheless, and it's a really fun fight if you get past that. Thunder Serpent Nala is okay as a final boss in Rise, but to be fair, I think this thing should have been like teased a lot more in the story. This thing kind of just randomly appears along with Ibushi and was like, yeah, sure, we can take that. This thing is a fun fight. The whole using like the electricity to like lift up rocks and like the earth. You have to go onto floating islands to attack it with ballistas and cannons. This thing's a fun fight, okay? And it's really cool to see how this thing uses its electricity attacks to actually attack you. The only thing with Nala is that its final phase, or you would think a boss like this would have a powerful phase, but it doesn't get that until much later when it was introduced as an update. Why wasn't it there from the start? You would think something like Shara Ishvalda would be much like higher up on the list, but I put it this low, or put it at this point, because I find Shara Ishvalda to be good enough. Like, it does. I feel like some of the monsters later on are just better than Shara Ishvalda, but let's face it, the two phases it has are super cool. The rock phase, you think, oh, it's just a really powerful monster that terraforms the earth, and it's made of rock, and like, it's like a rock golem dragon. But then when it reveals its creepy, like, body, like, on the inside of the stone, as the way, like, the fingers kind of just crack off the rocks, and it's revealed, like, almost like these tree root, like, fingers on its back, and then it reveals, like, its creepy face and the eyes. This thing is super creepy, but I love it. I love Naviel. This thing is one of the best Elder Dragons to even exist. Its design is beautiful, its abilities are amazing, and the fact that this thing has lightning, I didn't think it would have lightning when it first got introduced. When I first saw it, I saw the lightning, I was like, wait, this thing has lightning now? What? This thing is awesome. And the fact that it uses the water around it as well to, like, like make a like electric current from the water is super cool. Namiel's the most beautiful designed Elder Dragon in my opinion, and it's an Elder Dragon that has water abilities, and we need more of those. We need more water-based monsters, let's be real, especially Elder Dragons. CJS is great, sure, but come on, Namiel's a better one. The Lord of the Seas comes up at number 26, and come on, let's face it, Lagiacrus is one of the best monsters to even come out of the franchise. When this thing is first introduced, you actually have to, like, avoid this thing in Tri, or in Free Ultimate, in one of, like, the earliest quests. And this thing is a fearsome creature to see for your first game. Yeah, I grew up in Tri. I know the fear that this thing induced into me. I couldn't play that quest until I had the confidence to even face this thing. And when I did, oh my god. Lagiacrus is amazing. Okay, let's get that straight. Lagiacrus is amazing, and it takes its abilities to the max. Okay, yeah, sure, it's not the most overhyped fight, but let's face it, it's awesome in itself. It doesn't need to be overly flashy to be cool. The Zamtrios is one of the coolest monsters in Monster Hunter history, and let's face it, no one can disagree with that. It's a land shark that has 4 legs, can produce ice armor, and on top of that, inflate itself into a massive ball and just roll around crushing anything in its path. This thing is absolutely awesome, and I love how it uses its ice abilities as armor. That is so cool. The Zamtrios in itself, yeah, it's not the hardest fight in the game. It's not the hardest fight in general, really. But let's face it, it doesn't need to be a hard fight to be good. This thing is absolutely phenomenal. And I absolutely love it. But let's face it, there are better monsters. Even though this is a great monster, still things better than this. As soon as I saw the Glavenus, I was absolutely amazed. This thing is awesome, with the tail that can heat up and can cut through anything. This thing is an amazing monster, and its fight is even better. Sure, the design can be a bit clunky with the giant spikes on its back, but like, come on. How can you not love a giant T-Rex with a giant greatsword for a tail? It's insane! I love how also that the Glavenus uses the heat on the tail, and that it cuts through anything. It even shows that in one of the cutscenes where it's fighting a Rathian. It cuts through its spikes on its wing. The Glavenus is an awesome fight. It also has one of my favourite themes of any monster, or music should I say. Bazelgeuse is, if you took a B-52, which is like a bomber plane, and made it into a dragon, or a monster, or a wyvern, this thing drops like these weird, like, egg-shaped, like, bombs underground in multitudes, and just absolutely wipe out anything in its path. It's absolutely amazing, and I think this is the better monster compared to Deviljho and Rajang because it's just so cool. Okay, yes, Rajang has the cool Dragon Ball aesthetic, and Deviljho is fearsome, but Bazelgeuse just doesn't need that. It is powerful, and it's also one of those monsters that never got revealed and was just randomly there. It just appeared. It's cool. Seregios is a monster that people either really like or really dislike. For me, I like it, and there's a specific reason for that. And it's the history behind it. A little story. Just get a little story, right? So me and my friend were playing Generations Ultimate. We're hunting Seregios, and it does that attack where it picks you up and throws you. Now, this sounds normal, right? We were in the desert area, and there's like this one little area that you can go through, like a little, I guess like these kind of pillars, or like this kind of archway. And the Seregios threw me dead center through that archway, having me fly through the area, and it was the most funniest thing I have seen, and we were laughing our heads off. Okay, I love Seregios just for that alone. Okay, that's the best thing about this thing, in my opinion. The Nargacuga was the first monster that actually helped me, like, kind of get the basics on dodging correctly. This thing's fast and aggressive, and this thing can be really powerful if you're not ready for it. Nargacuga is super cool looking as well. It's one of the best, I think it's one of my favorite looking monsters in general. So basic, but it's so good. Let's face it, it's not the best thing in the world. Yeah, it can get super annoying with its speed, and let's face it, its jumping attacks where it's pouncing at you, it can get really annoying, but let's put that aside and let's just put on the fact that this thing is the coolest looking panther dragon in general. The beak kind of throws me off a little bit, I will admit that, but I can look past it. I love this thing, and I will always love this thing. And that concludes part 5, my ranking of the Monster Monsters. Next part will be the final part, the top 20. Those will be the monsters that I will find the best and my personal favourites. I've been the Crimson Scythe. I hope you've all enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for part 6. Drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.